Okay, here we are going to go over the results of the practice quiz to make sure that we are all on the same page with these. Feel free to just fast forward to the ones that you do not have correct currently. So the first page, the first 4 questions are all about tangent lines. One thing to know about tangent lines is that they are perpendicular to the radius or the diameter. So if you get a question looking for an angle like this, it does say that angle O is 111, so we just have to say it's either 3 sides or 4 sides. This time with a quadrilateral, we have x plus 90 plus the angle they gave us equal to 360. Okay, so what we have then is x plus, so we should have 180, 291 equal to 360, or your answer there should be 69. So looking through and finding the missing angle and using that to find the missing piece. Okay, so that would be the answer to number 1. Let's move on to number 2. That one, similarly, all right, we know that P is 12. This time it is a triangle. We know that by Q we can put a 90 since we know that we have a tangent line. So this time, since it's a triangle, we're going to use 180. So I have 180 equal to x plus 90 plus 12. So I have 180 equal to x plus 102, or when I subtract 180 from both sides, 78 would be that good answer there. Okay, so that would be the first 2. Let's move on to the third one. The third one is going to be a little bit trickier. This is going to involve that algebra and maybe some FOIL even, potentially. This one actually works out okay. AO is 24. I'm going to label that. BC is 50. That's just from B to C. Okay. We want to know what is AB. So we need to also know that this is the radius, which we would label as 24, meaning we need to use 74 as a hypotenuse. So this is kind of like the one that we would have done, how far can you see from looking at off the top of a mountain or something like that. So this is a Pythagorean theorem problem. When in doubt, Pythagorean theorem this chapter. X squared plus 24 squared equals 74 squared. So we're going to solve that for x. X squared plus 576 equal to 5476. We're going to subtract 576 from both sides. We have x squared equal to 4900 and the square root of 4900, giving us 70. X is 70. So we would choose 70 in our options. This time it's C for me. Last one about tangent lines. We'll look to number 4. This one is one of the perimeter problems. So we know that JA is 9. We know that AL is 10. We know that CK is 14. Find the perimeter of the triangle. So any tangents that start in the same place are the same length. So I have 2 9s, 2 10s, and 2 14s. So I'm just going to add up all those. So the perimeter is 9 plus 9 plus 10 plus 10 plus 14 plus 14. You should get a total of 66. Okay. So those are the tangent type problems to be ready for. All right. Then we got into 12-2, which had a lot of chords in those types of problems. So it might just be a problem of knowing your properties. This one says the circles are congruent. What can you conclude? So they told me that the central angles are congruent. If you look in your notes, that means 2 other things. It means that these arcs are congruent. It also means that the chords would be congruent. They're not drawn in this time, but let me draw those in green. You know those 3 things all go together. So I'm going to look in the answers and see if any of those are named. And this time they are named A, B, and D, E. The arcs are what I have in blue there. That's not labeled, and that's going to those are both just other arcs involved there. Okay, so knowing that if the central angles are the same, the chords and arcs are also going to be the same. So just looking for something that's true. This one's just another property. It might look confusing. It's saying all these things are congruent and perpendicular. Here's what we know. We have some right angles here. We know that these are the same length, which means the chords are equidistant from the center, which means the chords are the same length. So MO equals RO. We also know that RO is getting cut in half, 2 equal pieces, and MO is getting cut in half, 2 equal pieces. All right, they gave us that MO is 3, so that's the entire distance, 3 feet. They want PO, which is not the entire distance. They want only half. So I know the whole thing will be 3. I'm looking for just half, or 1.5 this time. Okay. After that, moving into some more problems like this. If it looks goofy, you're not looking for angles, it's probably a Pythagorean theorem problem. All right, if I have a 6 on the left here, I can put a 6 here, and this distance is my radius, which is x. I'm just going to redraw that so that it's the hypotenuse of my triangle. So 6 squared plus 8 squared equals x squared. 36 plus 64 equals x squared. 100 equals x squared. 10 is my answer for number 7. And number 8. Moving on to number 8, another Pythagorean theorem. Again, our radius is out of place. Let's redraw that. Okay. 7 works. We're not going to use 23. We know that those two should be equal. So we're going to use half of 23, which is 11.5. So 7 squared plus 11.5 squared equals x squared. So we have 49 and, oh, I'm sorry, I just have the total here. 49 plus 11.5 squared is 181.25. We're going to take the square root of that, and we get about 13.4, rounding up to 13.5 for our answer. That could be some things that you could see as far as chords. And then 12.3 was all about inscribed angles. So angles that are half as many degrees as the arcs. So number 9 should have been quick. It's just saying what's the measure of this angle. Remember, we like to trace those angles. On the paper quiz, you'll be able to do that. If the arc is 46, we just take that 46 and divide by 2. So that one has an answer of 23. Moving on, number 10, finding BAC. So again, let's highlight that. BAC is this angle, which is half of this arc. I don't know that arc, so that's where I got to start trying to figure this out. So there's a couple steps I could use to do this. One thing I have to realize is that this 66 is a central angle, which means if I have 66 at the center, I have 66 on the outside. I also know that the green arc and the blue arc should add to 180. So these two, that's a total of 180. So 180 minus 66 will give me what the blue arc is. Okay. So with that one, looking at 114. Okay, 180 minus 66. Okay. So at 180 minus 66, I'm at 114, which is not the answer. That is twice as big as the answer. We're going to divide that by 2 to get an answer of 57. Okay, so 57 will be that final answer. So that would be number 10. Number 11, let's take a look at that one. Number 11, if R is 22, what is O? So I know that 22 goes here. O is what they want to find out. I'm going to trace the 22 that I have because that's going to cut off NO, the arc. NQ, the arc. O in the center, these are actually cutting off that same arc. So if I have two angles inscribed that cut off the same arc, that means they must be the same. This must be a 22. That's a property. Or otherwise, you could multiply by 2 and get 44, and divide by 2 right away after that. Get back to 22. So the answer for 11, oh, I have to back up just a little bit. So, like I said, small mistake here, all right? Common mistake. I'm glad I caught it. So I have 22, all right, which means this is 44, like I said, okay? But what I messed up is I divided it by 2 again, when really this O on the center is a central angle. So if we have 44 degrees on the outside, we have 44 degrees right here. If O would have been over on this side, that would have been a 22. But since it's a central angle, we're going to stick with 44. That's going to be the better answer. Okay, so I apologize for that little slip up. And then on the last one, the last problem, number 12, what we have is, we know that AD is 100. We know that angle D is 99. They want to find the angle DCQ, so I'm going to highlight that one here. To get DCQ, the blue angle, I need the green arc. So I want to figure out that and divide it by 2. So with this, if I know that D is 99, I know that 99 times 2 gives me all of this. Okay? So that means that 198 degrees is that whole red arc. So I could take the 198 and the 100, that's going to be 298. And I can take 360 minus that 298. I end up with 62. So I know that the green is 62 degrees. If I want to take the green and get my answer, I need to take that 62 divided by 2. All right, so 31 is going to be the final answer for that one. Let me go ahead and clear the ink there, but 31 would be the answer for that last one. All right, so not so bad. Number 11, I had the wrong answer at first, but hopefully those make sense. Feel free to watch them again, make another submission, and then go to the real test. All right, good job.